at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on NICERADIO for A View from the Outside.
This society needs a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society needs a spectacle.
It's Saturday, the 4th day in the month of February 2017. As we say good morning to Mr. Horne. Good morning, Brereton.
Good morning to you, Randy. It is indeed Saturday, the 4th of February 2017. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be here.
Always good to hear you on a Saturday morning. I love the music that you're playing as usual. Let me say good morning to all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, those at home, those abroad, and those listening to NICERADIO anywhere or everywhere. It's a cloudy, rainy morning in London, Randy, and the temperature is 7 degrees Celsius, which is approximately 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Relatively okay in terms of the feel, but it's gloomy outside. On A View from the Outside this week, we look at the issue of wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, wealth, with the view being that while appalling poverty exists among many in the country, there are others who have amassed and continue to amass considerable wealth. The irony is that some are seen to amass their wealth, the country continues to lose key financial institutions, including the National Commercial Bank, the NCB. And institutions like NIS, the National Insurance Scheme, are owed considerable sums of money, putting people's pensions at risk. Foreign investors seem to be riding on the backs of ordinary local citizens who merely try to work to earn an honest living. They remain unpaid, having worked for weeks and months. Rumors abound about who have substantial sums in Panama and other offshore accounts around the world. Many local businesses no longer exist. Some of them are targeted and pressured into extinction. Farmers become poorer. Traffickers' trade continue to dwindle. There continues to be a lack of basic health care, where people cannot get basic medication. There's a lack of road maintenance and lack of maintenance of school facilities and buildings and other public buildings. The school dropout rate increases. People continue to have their electricity disconnected simply because they cannot afford to pay their bills. The Cambridge Dictionary defines wealth as a large amount of money or valuable possessions that someone has accumulated. And according to the Oxford Dictionary, wealth is an abundance of valuable possessions or money. And the Oxford Dictionary gives an example, and it is that some people buy boats and cars to display their wealth. Of course, many more items can be added to that list of examples, such as some people buy boats, cars, houses, expensive jewelry, etc., to display their wealth. There is a belief that some of those who amass such wealth do so at the country's expense. And as a result of that, the country continues to become poorer and poorer. Also, others accumulate such wealth through other illegal means, including being involved in the drug trade money laundering, and corruption. Now, if that is the case, there are questions that need to be asked, such as, will those in authority make an effort to curb such behavior, or are there underlying reasons why they will not do anything? Can they do anything to stop it? Of course they can. They can become more stringent in taking criminal action, where the evidence exists, of course, against persons who fall into the category of accumulating wealth of the state or via other illegal means. Such actions must be taken irrespective of whom that person is or irrespective of which political party that person supports or is perceived to support. They must allow the organs of the state to function independently. The police must have independence. The judiciary must have independence. Yes, there must be a separation of powers. Justice must mean justice. There is no room for justice to have more than one face. Justice must not have two faces. It must only have one. The view exists, though, that those in authority currently appear not to tackle such persons, and as such, many do not hold out much hope that things will change once those currently in authority remain. In fact, many believe that, as Jimmy Cliff said, the rich will continue to get richer and the poor will continue to get poorer in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for as long as the current regime remains. It is hoped, though, that there is a turnaround and that such persons are held accountable and responsible for their actions, and in fact are made to repay the state. Interestingly, going through the Parliament in the United Kingdom currently is a bill which will become law, known as it's referred to as the Criminal Finances Bill. One of the proposals in that bill is to introduce something called unexplained wealth orders. The main thrust of such orders is to take action against persons by way of an application to the High Court for that person or those persons to explain how they have come into the ownership of certain property, including money, when the person's known income cannot justify such ownership. So where the person's income cannot show how they could afford to have accumulated such property, an unexplained wealth order will be sought. Interestingly, such actions are proposed against persons or against a person who is a politically exposed person, or a person who is or has been involved in serious crime, or is connected to a person who is so involved, and the property exceeds a certain amount. If the person cannot satisfy the court that they have acquired the property in line with their legitimate income, then the property may be confiscated from them or from that person. The question that has to be asked here is, has the time come for unexplained wealth orders in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Has the time come for even politicians to account for any apparent unexplained wealth? While we ask these questions, we must remember that leading up to the general elections of 2001, this current regime, which was in opposition then, fervently and robustly promised the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that they will introduce integrity legislation within the first 100 days of coming into office. Well, It is now some 16 plus years since then, and there is no such integrity legislation. There have been all sorts of excuses made for not having delivered on that promise. Surely, the time has come. We cannot continue to have we cannot continue to have competition crushed and people's businesses and livelihoods destroyed. We cannot continue to have corruption reign supreme. Let us remind ourselves of what the 26th President of the United States of America, Theodore Roosevelt, said, and I quote, "Certain rich men whose lives are evil and corrupt are the representatives of predatory wealth accumulated by all forms of iniquity, from the oppression of waged workers to unfair methods of crushing out competition." Let us save St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and let us end the suffering land. Until next week, Randy, this is Brereton Horne with a view from the outside. And just reminding our listeners to send feedback as usual to aviewfromtheoutside at hotmail.com. That's aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. Randy, have a good day, have a pleasant weekend, and have a fruitful week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brereton. You and the family. Have a great
You're
weekend.
welcome.
It is plain to see we're in a terrible situation.